Hey YouTube, what's going on? Snowflakeyzemos here today with another deck profile. This is my Dino normal Pendulum deck here on Master Duel. It's a variant of the normal Pendulum strategy I've played that utilizes the dinosaur synergies we have because two of our big dinosaurs are level 6 dinosaurs, which is nice for using Evolzor Solda. So we combine that with some other good general dino cards like Soul Eating Aviraptor and Lost World to create a normal Pendulum deck that can play the Evol package, which of course the Evol monsters are just really powerful XZs that can either negate cards or monster effects or destroy special summon monsters based on which of these three that I'm summoning. So it's pretty good stuff. That said, let's get into the cards. Starting with our monsters, I am playing two copies of Megalo Smasher X. Megalo Smasher X is just a level 4 normal dinosaur type monster. It's nice to have because the normal monster synergizes pretty well with some of the normal Pendulum's pendulum effects when they're in the pendulum scale zone. And of course, level 4 dinosaurs allow us to make Evolzor Lagia and Dolka. And of course, Megalo Smasher just has 2000 attack, which is the highest one to get. Nice card. Next, we got three copies of Dragoons of Draconia. This is our low scale of choice, an 1800 attack beast warrior monster. But when it's in the pendulum scale, it's got the effect that if a normal monster you control destroys an opponent's monster by battle after damage calculation, you can add a level 4 or higher normal monster from the deck to your hand. So that's pretty nice. Gets more cards out of the deck. And, you know, the low scale too means that we can pretty much pendulum summon out everything we need to in the deck except Petronodon, which kind of stinks, but it's not the worst. Next, plan 3 Sky Dragoons of Draconia. This is our high scale of choice. A 2200 attack wing beast monster with a pendulum effect. It's got the scale of 7, and the effect once per turn when your normal monster you control inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target a card on the field and destroy it. So that's pretty nice. Adding a card from your hand and then destroying a card on the field when you have these two in your scales is just a nice way to keep the advantage generating. Next, a one of that we have here is Dragonhorn Hunter, 2300 attack, 3-star low scale. This is a low scale that we can search off of Summoner's Art, so of course I still want to play one in case I can't get to Dragoons of Draconia. It has the pendulum effect that all normal monsters gain 200 attack, and you take no battle damage from battles involving normal monsters. A small attack boost doesn't mean too much, but you know, it's pretty nice. We'll take it. Next up, I'm playing 3 Lance Pharynchus here, a 6-star dinosaur monster, pendulum scale 7, 2500 attack, which is pretty nice. The level 6 dino means we can use it to make Evolzor Solda. And of course, pendulum effect, if a normal monster you control attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage. So that's pretty nice. You know, means that your opponent can't set monsters in defense to avoid damage. Next up, we got 3 copies of Fire Opalhead, another level 6 dinosaur with 2500 attack. No pendulum effect, but a powerful 0 scale, which is very nice to have on the low scale. And, you know, that's a good option to have. You can play it in the pendulum scale. We can summon it as a monster. Generally, if you can, you want to save the dinosaurs to stay on the field so that you can play Evolzor Solda, etc. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Petronodon. Petronodon is a nice little card to have in here. I wish I could slot the third copy in, but this deck is pretty tight for space. Petronodon here, if this card is destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, special summon a level 4 or higher dinosaur type monster from your deck, but it cannot attack this turn. So this is a nice way to get out any of the level 4s or the level 6, depending on what I need. You know, do we need an Aviraptor search? Do we need another level 4 for an XZ? Or do we need another level 6 for an XZ? It's a pretty good card. You know, Lost World protects our normal monsters from being destroyed, so we can destroy this card instead. And that just happens to be pretty nice. Next, I'm playing 3 copies of Soul Eating Aviraptor. Very nice. When this card is normally special summon, take a dinosaur type monster from the deck and either add it to the hand or send it to the graveyard. This is nice because it can get us any of our dinosaur monsters, which sometimes can be our pendulum scale needed to complete the scales, which is pretty nice. Then you can target a level 4 lower dinosaur type monster on the field, destroy it, and then special summon a dinosaur type monster from your graveyard in defense. That's pretty nice to get out other level 4s from the graveyard. You can target the token that you summon off of Lost World and then destroy your own Petronodon, allowing you to extend further. It's just a really good card to have in this deck. And next, I'm playing 2 copies of Scrap Raptor. We unfortunately don't have Xeno Meteorus or Evolzor Lars yet available in Master Duel, so right now I'm just keeping 2 copies of Scrap Raptor in the build to have another kind of dinosaur type monster that can be XZs with, and also has an ability that I can use to target a monster on the field and destroy it. And that's pretty nice because if I can target a dinosaur type or a normal monster on the field when I have Lost World, I can trigger Lost World, send a Pteranodon, get another monster out. So, you know, it's just a lesser Aviraptor effect that can get Lost World going. But when Xenometeorus and Lars comes out, that'll be definitely incredibly powerful. It'll be a good time to update this deck. And that's it for the monsters. Next, going into our spell cards, I'm playing 3 copies of Summoner's Art. Adds a level 5 or higher normal monster from the deck to our hand. We have plenty of those. Lance, Fire Opalhead, Sky Dragoons, Dragonhorn Hunter. Whichever one we're looking for, we can get, whether it's one we need for the Pendulum scale or just a monster to summon on the field. Next, I'm playing 3 Fossil Dig. Add a level 6 or lower dinosaur type monster from our hand. Again, can add any of our dinosaur type monsters, including Pendulum scales, which is pretty nice. 1 copy of Painful Decision. Send a level 4 or lower normal monster from the deck to the graveyard, and if you do, add a monster with the same name from the deck to your hand. This is mainly a searcher to get regular Dragoons of Draconia into our hand. And we're only playing 1 of it because we can only activate once per turn, and what's nice about Summoner's Art and Fossil Dig is we can play as many of those in a turn as we want, which is pretty nice. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Extrav. You know, we're just maxing out on all the Evolzors so that we most likely have 1, and in exchange we get to draw 2, which is pretty nice. We banish 6 random extra deck cards face down, draw 2. You know, that's fine. We're going to most likely have an Evolzor we can go into because we have 9 of them. It'll even be better when we get Lars. Next, we got 1 copy of Pendulum Treasure. Adds a Pendulum monster from your deck to the extra deck face up. That's pretty good. Just, you know, gets us any Pendulum monster that we want to summon out on our Pendulum Summoner and get it right out. Next, 3 copies of Lost World. Pretty cool field spell that works really well for this deck. All monsters on the field lose 500 attack and defense except dinosaur type monsters. So that's pretty nice. Weakens our opponent's monsters so that ours can get over it, especially because our highest monster is 2,500. That definitely comes in handy. If a dinosaur type monster is normal or special summon, we can summon an egg token to our opponent's field in defense mode. The egg is a normal monster, so we can use that with Lost World as a next effect here. That if a normal monster on the field would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy that many dinosaur type monsters in your hand and or deck instead. So that's nice. We can attack our opponent's token, maybe get piercing if Lance is in our Pendulum scale, then we can send Pteranodon, get another monster out, so in main phase 2 we can summon even further. So just a really good card to have in this deck. And last for the spells, I'm playing 1 Fire Formation Tenki. It's simple, we activate it, we add a level 4 lower Beast Warrior type monster from the deck to our hand. That gets us Dragoons of Draconia, which is definitely the low scale we want, so very important to get. And we can only activate 1 per turn, so I'm only playing once per turn since I have tons of other searchers that I can use multiple times per turn. And that is it for the spell cards. Next, getting into our trap cards, I am playing 3 copies of Summon Limit. Summon Limit is a kind of emergency button. If I don't have a very good opening hand going first, I can draw into Summon Limit, and Summon Limit can buy me a lot of time. It says that neither player can summon more than 2 times per turn, and this deck can very much play around that because a Pendulum Summon all counts as 1 summon, so I can still get a lot of monsters out without summoning a lot of times. And decks that need to summon multiple times, which is a ton of decks in this game, are going to get really hurt by this card. And mostly just as the last deck slot, I'm playing 1 copy of Solemn Judgment, just a little hopium to protect my Pendulum Scales, my Summon Limit Floodgate, just whatever's going to get removed. Having a Solemn Judgment on board is pretty nice. Solemns also are always nice in decks where you got Evolzors, because just that one little negation extension is sometimes all you need. Because kind of if you have enough negation to get your opponent to pass a turn, you can normally just OTK them on the next turn, which is pretty important. And that is it for the main deck. Now going into our extra deck, I am playing 3 copies of Evolzor Lagia. 2400 attack dragon monster, requires 2 level 4 dinosaur type monsters, and its effect is just Solemn Judgment. When a monster would be normally special summon or a spell or trap card is activated, we detach 2 materials to negate the activation or summon and destroy it. Pretty good. You know, we want to get rid of a crucial spell, you know, something we can overlay our level 4 dinosaurs into. Pretty nice. Next, 3 copies of Dolka, 2300 attack, 2 level 4 dinosaurs. When another monster's effect is activated, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this and negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that monster. This card's incredible. It's 2 monster negates on 1 monster because it's not limited to once per turn, not even limited to once per chain. So monster effect heavy decks, which are a ton of decks in this game, this card can do a lot of damage to them. Next is three copies of Evolzor Solda, 2600 attack, 6-star monster. Requires 2 level 6 dinosaur type monsters. Can't be destroyed by card effects while it has material, and when your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can attach a material from this card and destroy it. So that's pretty nice. This cannot be destroyed by card effects is incredibly handy. You know, it avoids Raigeki and Lightning Storms. And this card just combos super well with Summon Limit because, you know, we're letting the monsters get summoned and then we're destroying them. And so it still counts as them being summoned. So Summon Limit is going to stop them from summoning more. And is just a pretty good card. Of course, it might not see as much play, although I will still include it in the deck when Evolzor Lars comes out because it's basically just a Lagia that we can use twice per turn that requires level 6s. But in the meantime, Solda is a perfectly fine card, and of course, it being super rare is very nice because, you know, super rare dust is not as hard to come by as ultra rare dust. Next up, I'm playing 3 copies of Defender of the Labyrinth. This is the Link 2 for normal monsters and normal Pendulum especially. It requires 2 normal monsters, non-effect monsters we control gain 500 attack, and our opponent's effect monsters lose 500 attack. If this card in its owner's position is destroyed by your opponent's card, you can target a non-effect monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So that's pretty nice, just like changing the attack stats here by 1,000. And has the 2 good link arrows so that we can put 2 Pendulum monsters into Defender of Labyrinth, get the link arrows, and then Pendulum summon them back out, further extending, giving our guys a nice attack boost, which is pretty nice. And yeah, good card. And last, Land Ferenkus. It's just, I have it in the game. It's a Link 2 with the good 2 arrows. It's a non-effect monster, which doesn't, you know, I'm not playing too many non-effect synergies in this deck. But it's just a cool card to have. You know, if I don't have any Defender of Labyrinths because they've been banished off of Extravagance, I still have a Link 2 I can go into and extend my board. And that is it for the extra deck. So here's a replay to show the deck in action. I am going first against an opponent who is playing Sword Soul. Not bad hand we're seeing here. You know, I have a scale set up here, a low scale and a high scale. I got a dinosaur type monster, a Pendulum Treasure I can use to get another dinosaur type monster, and of course Summon Limit to help hinder my opponent's turn, which is pretty nice. So, of course, I'm going to start by playing Pendulum Treasure. They're going to play Max C here, which is definitely going to change my line because I definitely was thinking about Pendulum summoning and then going into a you know, Evolzor Solda, but I don't want my opponent to draw cards, and I have Summon Limit, so I don't have to let them draw cards. I can just play my face down, set my scales, and give it over to my opponent. My opponent will then play Incredible Ecclesia. That is their first summon, and Moye is their second summon. Now at this point, I want to wait till they attempt to summon another monster to flip Summon Limit so I can blank some cards. And here we go. Bestial Baldrake is going to banish a monster from their grave to try to summon itself. This is a perfect time to flip it, Summon Limit. So they banish the card, and they're stuck with it in the hand, and they just got Moye on the field, something I can easily out. I draw into a Fire Opalhead. Very nice. Now I use my Pendulum Scales to summon out all my monsters, of course being 1 summon, so 3 monsters. Gonna get a bunch of damage in here. And then of course, in the main phase 2, I can overlay into Evolzor Solda, my second summon, and now have a go against my opponent. They only got 2,500 left. They're going to summon out Tenyi Spirit Adhara. I'm going to let Adhara stick because it's 1 summon and Adhara on its own doesn't do anything. Then they're going to special summon Ecclesia here. The summon hits, Ecclesia is destroyed, and of course they have reached their summon limit, so they have nothing to do but sit with an attack position Adhara and get OTK'd next turn, so they scoop it up. So that's it for my Dino Pendulum deck. Again, a deck I have a lot of fun with playing, even in this state, and of course I look forward to Master Duel giving us both Evolzor Lars and Xeno Meteorus, the Transcendrake stuff, because that just makes this deck even better, and you know, we'll expect an update then, but it's very cool. I love normal monsters a lot, and you know, normal Pendulum is definitely the Pendulum strategy I can get behind. I think it's really cool. So I appreciate y'all checking out the deck profile, and I'll catch you in the next one.